We are here today to record our group discussion for BELU 4053. Specifically for assignment 2, part 1, we need to conduct a 30-minute discussion. The topics we need to cover are the roles of OSHE, legal requirements in business management, and then we need to discuss the Occupational Safety and Health Acts in Malaysia and their salient futures. To make our discussion focus, the rubric say we need to choose one specific industry. Do you guys have any suggestion on what industry we should pick?
Hi, Wan and Faris. I've been thinking about this. I strongly suggest we choose the manufacturing industry in Malaysia. Why? Because if you look at the news or social media, manufacturing factories always have a lot of workplace accidents. Workers are dealing with dangerous machines, heavy lifting, and toxic chemicals every day. It is very relevant to our engineering technology background. What do you think, Faris?
Hi. Yeah, I totally agree with that choice. Manufacturing is in Malaysia, like in Melaka, Selangor, and Johor.
So we all agree to focus on the manufacturing industry. Let's lock this decision. Now, let's move into our first core topic, the roles of OSHE, legal requirements in business management. Let's brainstorm together. Why do you think a factory management or a business owner need to follow these safety laws? Is it just because they are scared of government inspectors, or is there a business benefit?
Thanks, Wan. In my opinion, many bad bosses think that safety rules are just a waste of time and money. They think buying PPE or doing safety training is just an extra cost that reduces their profit. But that is completely wrong. The real role of OSHE laws in business management is actually risk management and cost reduction. Let's look at real example. If a factory does not follow the law and a worker's hand gets crushed by an unsafe machine because there is no safety guard, what happens next?
Oh, I know what happened. The factory will be in the big trouble. First, the depend of occupation safety and health or DOS become any issue and nothing of prohibit. That will say the machine or even close the whole production line for week to do any investigation.
Exactly, Faris. When the production line stops, the factory cannot produce goods. They will delay deliveries to customers and they might get sued by their clients for breaking the contract. On top of that, the company has to pay massive medical compensation to injured workers, fix the broken machine, and they might face a heavy court fine under OSHA 1994. So, if you calculate all these hidden costs, ignoring safety laws is actually way more expensive than following them. Therefore, OSH laws act as a tool to protect the financial health of the business.
Wow, that's a very detailed explanation, perhaps. I never thought about the production downtime cost. What about you, Faris? Do you have any other points on how OSH law helps business management?
Yes, one. I think other major role is reputation management and corporate image. Nowadays, big international company like Apple, Sony, or Intel that don't want to buy component from a local supply or subcontractor that has a bad safety record. If a factor is always on the news because of fire, chemical leak, or worker dying, that corporate image will be completely destroyed. Nobody want to invest in a dangerous company. So by comply with OSH law, the management can build trust the global client, which is actually help them win more business contract. It changed the management style from being reactive to proactive.
I agree. It's all about sustainability. Now, let's move to the second part of our task. Occupational Safety and Health Act in Malaysia and its salient features. We know that in Malaysia, we have two main acts, the Control Safety, the Factories and Machinery Act 1967, which is machinery. Sorry, thank you, Bria. Machinery Act 1967, which is FMA 1967, and the Occupational Safety and Health Act 1994, which is OSHA 1994. Faris, Can you explain the history or the main difference between these two?
The OFMM 1967 was created a long time ago when Malaysia was mostly focused on base factor operation. The nature of FAM 1967 is very predictive. This means the law was very grip and set specific and technical rules like how thick a boiler steel must be or the specific dimension for machine guide. It focused too much on the physical safety for machinery, but the problem is technology changed very fast. When new type of automatic machine or robot were invented, the old FAM 1967 could not cover them because the government could not update the law fast enough. Also, FAM 1967 only protect workers inside specific registered factories. People working in an office, hotel, or agriculture
Agriculture.
agriculture will not protect by FM 1967.
That's why the government had to introduce OSHA 1994, right? To cover everyone else.
Yes, exactly. OSHA 1994 was introduced to fix all the grip. It covers also all working people in Malaysia. The biggest features or the main philosophy for OSHA 1964 is safe regulation.
Let's talk more about the specific salient features or section inside OSHA 1994. They are important for a manufacturing factory. Freya, do you have any specific section that we must include in our discussion?
Yes, one. The most important section for employers is definitely Section 15, which outlines the general duties of employers. Under Section 15, the factory owner must provide and maintain a safe plan and system of work. For example, they must establish a proper system called hierarchy. Under Section 15, the employer must do hierarchy before any worker starts a job. They must identify if the machine is dangerous, assess how likely an injury can happen, and implement controls like adding a physical barrier or providing safety goggles. Section 15 also says the boss must provide proper training, information, and supervision.
I really like OSHA 1994 because it is fair. It doesn't put 100% of the responsibility on the boss only. There is also a feature called Section 24, which outlines the general duties of employees.
Under Section 24 is worker must take reasonable care of their own our safety and safety for their friends at work. They must cooperate with the employer. Most importantly, they must be wear or use any personal protective equipment PPE provided by the employers at all times. For example, if the factory management provide high quality earplug because the manufacturing flow is very low, the worker cannot just leave the earplug in that locker because they feel uncomfortable. If a worker refer to weak the PPE, they are actually breaking the law under Section 24, and that can be fine or face action for the company.
Exactly. It's a two-way street. The boss gives the equipment and the worker must use it. What about the structural organization inside the factory? Is there any requirement about safety officers or committed?
There is another major feature of OSHA 1994 under Section 30. If a factory has 40 or more employees, they must form a formal safety and health committee. This committee must have a chairman, a secretary, and an equal number of representatives from the management side and the workers' side. The role of this committee is to review safety measures, investigate any accidents or near misses, and meet at least once every 3 months. Also, under Section 29, certain high-risk factories with a large number of workers must employ a certified full-time safety and health officer, or what we can call as an SHO, who holds a green book registration from DOSHE. The SHO is the person who coordinates all the safety programs, does inspections, and reports directly to the manager.
Wow, we have covered a lot of important points about OSHA 1994.
This is great. This means our part 1 discussion today has successfully built an entire foundation and outline for our part 2 report.
I will stop the recording now.
Thank you, Wan and Faris. This was a great discussion. Let's start writing.